Is this real life, or is this just fantasy? I don't know, I don't know. I gotta... Okay, how about now? How about now? It's very quiet. Okay, now it will not be quiet. That's right. What I was complaining about. Is
very quiet.
Fusion. I launched Fusion just as the countdown was hitting 0, and because Fusion has terrible window management integration with macOS, it takes over. It jumps itself into the foreground. You keep clicking to other things, and then it throws itself back into the foreground again and blocks your windows. Whatever windowing toolkit management thingy they're using for Fusion is just horrible. So what I was just saying while I was muted was, because Fusion kept insisting on being in the foreground, I could not see the OBS interface. I did not know. I didn't actually know when I was live. I acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the Whadjuk Noongar peoples. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and to Aboriginal elders and peoples from other communities who may be taking part in this live stream today. Good morning. Good morning. There is much today. Did a technical glitch just save our ears? Yes, Tinker. Yes. Yes. I was singing, kind of. DOS. Yeah. Jisk says 2:03 in the night here. Okay, so there are a whole lot of people in cast note to say good morning to. Good morning or good evening or whatever is appropriate to. No, Stephen George, I know, is a good morning. It is a good morning. Good morning to Amanda. Me? Because I was in the chat. I'm listed. Gavin Jackson, John Whips, Crispian, Simon CBR, Vic Oliver, Tinker, Discmaker, Sharky, Paul Schultz is here, Grant Maisel is here, Cable Tie is here. Cable Tie, are you here because it is too wet and horrible to be up on Mount Dandenong on a bike right now? Is that the reason? Do we need... Discmaker says, Alan, okay, yes. Cable Tie has been rained off his bike. Yeah, I've just, in the last day or two, I end up watching so many random things that are actually aligned with my interests a lot of the time, I must admit. So the algorithm figures it out. Some of the videos that I've had on just playing on like an extra monitor while I've been working over the last couple of days are people coming to Melbourne and doing the hell ride down Beach Road, and their experience of of cranking along the 62 odd kilometers or whatever it is down Beach Road, down and back at a ridiculous pace. It looks like hell. I could not even get up to speed to, like, I could not get up to speed, let alone hold that. That it is just insane levels of power output. Yeah. Hang on. Okay. Ooh. Jiskmaker/Alan says, just bought a 4 terabyte M.2 NVMe, costs like a small house. Yeah. Yeah, 4 terabyte M.2 would be, NVMe, would be very expensive. John said, has Vic Oliver been moonlighting or have we got mission creep? There, yes. And Vic replied, I've been busy. Yes, he definitely has been busy to the extent that new designs, improvements keep being posted, but I am sticking with this one. So the most recent update, as far as I know, Vic can correct me if I'm wrong on this, is a day or two ago posting some improvements to the mounting mechanism for the microscope so that it's better. So I have, all right. The other thing is, a little bit ago, 6 weeks or so ago, I bought this microscope because this should be the same as what was the better microscope that Vic was running on his. He has 2 microscopes, and one was quite an old one, and then he bought one of that exact microscope as the better microscope, and now has done a little review of other microscopes, other options, and come up with something better. So, Vic says, yeah, microscope week. Yes. And so trying to follow Vic's work in this is very much a moving target. Whatever you thought you knew last week, the rules have changed. Vic says, the arm that comes with that microscope fits nicely onto the picker. Yeah, so this microscope comes with, if we look at the picture, you can see that is the microscope itself. It's got, whoops, everything's backwards for me. There is the base with a little slide holder. And then there is this metal rod here. That metal post, I believe, fits into, oh, not there. I hit the wrong button. Here. Fits into there. So on the picker, the microscope slides into this side mount, and then it can mount up there somewhere. Oh, I just realized, I just discovered. That camera wasn't turned on. Hello. Yeah, that's going to go away in a minute, all of the on-screen display stuff. So the version of the picker, so this is picker v0.2 rather, with the mount here for the microscope arm. Yeah, so we shall overcome. Hello to NetVentive as well. Welcome, NetVentive. Also, I should say up front that today is barbecue day, deferred from last Sunday. Last Sunday is the day it would have been if I was following my second Sunday of every second month routine. However, it was Mother's Day, and so due to popular demand, it was deferred for a week. So, last Sunday, I think from memory, last Sunday the weather was really nice, and today not so much, but it's still nice inside. And because the barbecue is in the loading dock area, just inside the big roller door of the factory, we run the barbecue, doesn't matter. It can be pouring rain, it could be a thunderstorm. That would be dramatic, that would be fun. But the, oh, Evil Deece is here as well. Good morning, Evil. Checking in from north of the border.
Check the link for the world's smallest particle accelerator.
World's smallest particle accelerator? Ooh, where is this? What link? Oh, and Paul says, aluminium posts themselves are available from AliExpress. Yeah, okay. Now, oh yeah, so Paul is also building a RepRapMicron, I believe, for those of you who don't know. Oh, okay. Vic, nerd brag, good. Let's get on to nerd brags. Let's do this. So everybody else, prepare some nerd brags. I've got one coming up. Vic said, nerd brag. Vic is such a tease. It says, I put some pot in my barbecue. If that was the only thing, we would be a bit suspicious. I found some wild clay in the driveway, made a nice wee pot and fired it in the barbie using only tools and equipment from the shed. And blocked by bad word. Unfortunately, Crispian can't use TTS. Crispian said, sadly, we won't make the barbecue today. I'm relying on the others to look after you. Okay, thanks, Crispian. I'll miss you and Emmy. Good morning, Emmy. Emmy is now also in the chat. And, yeah, hopefully others will look after me. keep me from hurting myself too badly. Yeah. So what else? Nerd brags. Nerd brags. Come on, someone else has got to have one. Okay. There is a thing that I've been holding off on talking about, and I'm still not even sure if I'm going to talk about it on a stream, because it doesn't really need to be said on a stream. Yeah, too outside the box. Yeah, I know. Tinker. TTS doesn't work for Crispian. I think it's because of the extended YouTube username. No matter what he puts in the chat, TTS will not say it. I don't know. I don't know. Come on, someone else has got to come up with a nerd brag. Okay, so I tried so many user banes. Oh, usernames. Yeah, okay. No, I don't think I will talk about my nerd brag on stream. Yes, Bane. I was born to it. No. All right, I'm going to do a very quick. Ooh. Alan said, got the Stream Deck XL and also my new Logitech G Pro keyboard. Ooh. Logitech G Pro. Let me see what that is. Because Logitech G Pro. Talking about keyboards. Hang on. Logitech G Pro. That's a mouse. All right, so here I'm going to do a sideways reveal here. Which is, yeah, so you just got a new keyboard. Logitech G Pro keyboard, Stream Deck XL. So, yeah, Friday, I was talking to my girlfriend about keyboards because she's not satisfied with the various keyboard options that she's got at the moment. So we went through different key profiles, and the split keyboard, the soft lay chock that I've got here. Okay, Logitech G Pro mechanical gaming keyboard. This one here. This one. Is this the one you got? Logitech G Pro mechanical gaming keyboard. And what else? Oh, you got the Stream Deck XL. Stream Decks are so good. Stream Decks are so good. Oh, and okay, backing up a little bit. Paul said, no brag, managed to get ESP Now comms working between two ESP home devices. Oh, ESP Now comms. Yeah, okay. Between ESP home devices. Right. So ESP Now, is ESP Now normally supported by ESP Home? because they're two different things. They're two independent things. ESP Home is a platform for creating customized firmware for little embedded devices like ESP32 based smart devices. ESP Now is a communications protocol, kinda, that uses the Wi-Fi radio in ESP devices to do direct device-to-device communications, so that you can you can create very quick wireless links between devices without needing like a whole Wi-Fi infrastructure with an access point and all of that sort of thing. It's like a point-to-point sort of thing that operates sort of concurrently with Wi-Fi. Well, not concurrently with. It uses, yeah, it's a different way of using the underlying radios that are used for Wi-Fi. Yeah, Paul Shaw says ESP Now, Wi-Fi P2P, so peer-to-peer. Yes, yeah. Oh, Cable Tire says, I broke my hot air soldering pencil. That's not a brag. Well, I suppose it depends on what you're doing with it. David says, no brag, first time, didn't seem to post. I converted my Wombot 3D printer to use linear rails over the last few weeks. Oh, cool. Yeah, so Wombot is, did they originate with Aurorum? I think the Wombot line is an Aurorum brand, isn't it? So, yeah, with linear rails, nice. Oh, Andrew B says, got Home Assistant running with all of my smart devices, finally got my Greenwave switches working. Cool. So, Andrew, you've got the Greenwave switches working with Home Assistant. How are you linking those two things together? Are you running like an MQTT bridge of some kind, like a Z-Wave to MQTT bridge, and then using Home Assistant to connect to that? Or, yeah, I'm curious to know that, because this is something that I would like to do. Scrolling back. Oh, Crispian said my nerd brag was going to be shown at the barbecue. As we're not able to get there and it isn't ready yet anyway, it'll have to remain secret for a while. Okay. Ooh. Oh, nice. Okay. Evil Dees just said, my front printed white translucent keycaps arrived earlier this week. I'm currently designing a jig to hold them flat so I can UV print on the top with the programmer Dvorak layout. Okay. White translucent, front printed white. Okay. My new keycaps arrived during the week. When I built this Soft Lake Shock keyboard, which I'm running Dvorak layout on this. So, yeah, Evil, are you running Dvorak? You're one of the very, very few who has done it. The keycaps, I'm going to see if I can, how can I do this without making too much of a mess? I want to bring something up so you can see it. Got to reorganize myself. I'm going to move this hopefully without, oh no, the cable goes under there. Oh no, I got it out. Okay, here we go. Moving this out of the way. So this is my regular daily driver keyboard, which is the Soft Lake Shock with, as you can see, Dvorak layout. And I've customized, this main part is based on Dvorak, but then I customized the outer parts very significantly. And these keycaps just arrived during the week. These are the keycaps that I wanted when I was building this keyboard maybe a year ago, but they were out of stock. They've been out of stock. These are, it's a double shot mold glow through, and they are really nice. I just had a cheap set of keycaps on it for all of this time, and then during the week I went looking. and I discovered that these keycaps were had come into stock, so I ordered a set. So I've got a proper set of these keycaps now, and so what I've got is, yeah, the way I've laid it out is enter is under my left thumb, space is under my right thumb. So typing English, like just typing text, is really, really quick on this. It's really nice, very low effort. But for programming, it can be a little bit suboptimal because yeah, it can be a little bit hard to find things. So I've got multiple layers on this. So I've got the raise key here. So if I hit raise, it remaps all of the keys on the right. It actually remaps some on the left as well, but I hardly ever use those. So I've got navigation keys on here, page up, page down, begin, end, arrows, like in the triangle, the CTHN triangle. And also things like square brackets are up here. So all three bracket types are on these two keys. So there's round brackets, curly brackets, square brackets are all on these keys, accessed by different combinations of shift and raise. So overlaying, raising the overlay changes to square brackets, etc. Yeah, anyway, this is my current thing. So during the week, I ordered another set of PCBs to make another one of these keyboards just because, I don't know why. I want two of them. But what I'm not going to be able to get for a little while are the keys themselves. These are Softlight, KLH V1 Softlight Shock Sunset keys. And what I'm waiting for are the Sunrise keys to come out, which shouldn't be far away now. They should be close. Back to the chat. All right, I couldn't see the chat for the last little while. Hang on. Okay. Gavin said, I printed a full-scale model of a shape that my students need to draw on graph paper, so now they have something physical to compare against. Tinkercad and crayons for TAFE students. Nice one, Gavin. Yeah. Vic says, excellent FreeCAD Start Guide for beginners, not dummies, featured on Hackaday. Cool. I'm trying to catch up with chat. It's bleeding brilliant, even if the guy is French. Okay, so Tinker said, my biggest problem isn't so much figuring out FreeCAD itself, it's more that I have absolutely no prior 3D CAD experience before jumping in and teaching myself over the last couple of years. Okay, David said, yes it is, it's a local brand out of Ringwood. Yeah, okay, so this is in reference to Wombot and Aurorum. So Aurorum is a company based in Ringwood. He's moved around a couple of times. So the guy who started, his name is Aremus. I think that's how you pronounce it. And they are actually really convenient to me now. They are not that far away. So if I need 3D printer filament on the spot, it's pretty easy to drive down to Aurorum and grab some. And they make different 3D printers, including massive ones. When you walk into the front of the office at Aurorum, they've got a 3D printer that's, I think it's like in the order of 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, like in its build volume. It is massive. Like it comes, yeah, it sits on, I'm pretty sure they've got it sitting on the floor and it comes up to like my waist. It's a huge printer. So they put things in that, they run print jobs in that go for like a week, printing enormous things. Grant says, no brag, I got my Web 888 SDR working and listened to HF from Europe. Oh, cool. Very nice. Oh, there are more people in the chat. There is David Crisp. Hello. I said hello to David earlier. Imi Amelia. I don't think I've seen an Imi Amelia before. Hello. Oh, Alan said, found a 3D printer that had just been thrown out and up and running now with direct drive. Cool. Vic says, I ran a Dvorak when people working at Amstrad to stop people nicking my keyboard. I came back from holiday to find someone had penciled QWERTY on it. Oh no. All right, so Andrew, this is followed up. This is in response to running the Greenwave power boards. No MQTT, just Z-Wave JSUI. It's all on a Pi 4 with USB Z-Wave device. Oh, okay. So it's Z-Wave JSUI, which then presumably Home Assistant connects to somehow? Or it connects to Home Assistant? Russell Rainier's here. And just oh, Alan said that keyboard is missing 3 keys. Oh look, Imi is saying hello to Imi. Paul says, I need to do a proper print and design a VIX one-handed keyboard. Yeah, so VIX chording keyboard, which is a very cool thing. It is a very cool thing. I haven't looked at that for a little while. Oh, well, someone has entered the chat. Someone with the handle of Princess Fiona. For what it's worth, I have a full Logitech MX setup. Yeah. This may or may not be the person with whom I was discussing keyboards on Friday, and who, if you come to the barbecue today, you may or may not get to meet in person. Throwback to the Nerd Brag Familiar. Crispian said, the keys need to display different characters when shift is pressed. Yes, yes, each of the keys should be a little LCD. Evil says, finding a double shot programmer Dvorak is almost impossible. I'm currently running a mix of stickers and clear resin prints that sit inside a black resin print to get shine through working. Oh, that's being creative. One of my requirements. Oh, Imi Amelia, I'm Imogen's sister. Really? Oh, that's cool. Mimi. Okay, so there's Imi and Mimi. Imi's sister Amelia is lurking on Imi's other login. That's why it is. Where was the login? Imi Amelia. Right. Oh yeah, the QWERTY keyboard. Okay, I've got to throw up a link to this. This is no, not a link. I've just got to throw it up. This is Vic's one-handed key thing, the QWERTY. So it's a CircuitPython PyPico based keyboard. It's got to be a picture here. There must be pictures here. Documentation. Assembling the QWERTY.pdf. Yeah, of course. This will have pictures. Overview. Fitting the keycaps. It's got to have pictures. Got to have pictures. Where are the QWERTY pictures? All characters are PDF. Shift functions, left-handers, right-handers. Yeah, so this keyboard comes in 2 versions. One that you just use exclusively with your left hand, one used exclusively with your right hand. Oh, printables, okay. Here we go. This is where you find the QWERTY stuff. Kind of looks like a mouse almost, but it's a chording keyboard. I believe it's a chording keyboard, isn't it? Surely it must be. Not fingertips, blah, 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 blah. Source code. Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't looked at this for a while. How It was a few years ago that you did this, wasn't it, Vic? I remember seeing this quite a long time ago. But anyway, if anybody is interested in messing around with chording keyboards, check out yet another one of Vic's really cool projects. Oh, Vic says, yes, chording, it does mouse, but not like you'd think. Yeah, it would do pointer control through key presses, is my understanding. It not by physically moving it like a mouse. It started on it in 2019 in the current incarnation. Yes, but that is but you'd done an earlier version, I think, as well. You did a chording keyboard years ago. Crispian asked, is that what they use in court? So what Crispian is talking about is court stenographers. They do use chording keyboard systems, but it's actually more complicated than that, because normal chording keyboards, there are several levels to this. A normal chording keyboard does combinations of keys in order to generate in normal key presses. So there will be a chording combination that generates an A, a chording combination that generates a B, etc. And then those letters are sent. The way court stenographers work, my small amount of understanding of this is that the machines they work on like chunks of words, and I think a lot of it is phonetic as well. So it's not if you wanted to type a word using a regular chording keyboard, you would enter each of the letters of the word. But the way court stenographers work is that they have shortcuts. Like the whole thing is just shortcuts stacked on shortcuts. So like a particular combination and you'll get a word coming out, or multiple words, or like capturing a phonetic representation or something. So they are super, super fast, but your brain has to work. Like, it is not something you just pick up. Johnny! Good, way after midnight, Johnny. My hot Swedish friend. Yeah, so doing stenography is a whole different thing. Yeah, that is a skill acquired through so many years of practice to be fast at that, or to be able to do it at all. So, good morning to Princess Fiona and to Andrew B and Johnny Bergdahl, who have joined the chat. Adam? Alan? Maybe, did I get it wrong before? I was saying Alan for Jisk Maker. Maybe it's Adam. I'm sorry. El Adam. That covers them both. Adelum. Now, a quick update. No, it's Alan. Okay, cool. I am not going to remember that. Guaranteed, I am not going to remember that. So, trying to match people's online personas to real life names, even if I know them in real life. Now, if I know someone in real life, matching their persona to their identity is much easier. But if it's someone I've never actually met in person, and someone just says, my real name is this, and this is my online handle, trying to map one to the other does not come naturally. I've got to work at it. Yeah, so, where were we? Okay, I'm going to, no, not that. I want to show you Superhouse projects, because, yes, we will actually do some RepRapMicron stuff soon. We will get there soon. Just Maker said, just set up a yellow poster on your monitor then. Yeah, I actually created, at some point, I started a text document that was mapping things like usernames to real names. so that I could figure it out. And also, I do a poor job of keeping track of things like, and this has been evidenced before. Right now, it's not running, but the Superhouse sign that's behind me, I asked a little while who it was that made that. I should know who made that, and I don't capture that sort of information in my brain. I've got, so there are a whole lot of examples. I have some Unify equipment here, which was lent to me on a long-term basis, as in I'm not using it right now, you can probably make use of it, but if I ever need it back, I'll let you know, sort of basis, and I'm not going to say the full name just in case, because I don't want to dox anyone, by an Andrew. And so what I did was, to remember that, because it could be years down the track, I printed stickers with the name of the person who lent that gear to me and put it on the gear itself, so that if I look at it, I go, oh, that's right, that's the person who lent me this. So if I need to follow up on it in future. Otherwise, there is no way, if I came back to it years later, that I would remember the name of the person who lent it to me. And OZ8DM. Yeah, mine, which has expired now, was VK3FADO. I believe it was FADO. Yeah, I didn't, a few years ago I stopped paying for the renewal of the registration for my call sign. So technically I am not a licensed amateur radio operator anymore. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was FADO. VK3 FADO. And now it's free. Cable Tie just looked it up. So my call sign has been returned to the pool that is available. Evil says, and this is why AI glasses should be subsidized for neurodivergent folk. Yeah. Oh, Major, that's John. I've got a few Unify APs you can just have if you want. Ooh. I'm always up for networking gear. Paul says, if you register, you now get call sign for life. No, as in it doesn't cost to have a license anymore. All right. I should reapply. Not that I'm attached to that call sign in any way, shape, or form. It was just, I don't even know how it came about. I think it was just randomly issued. But I probably should apply. Oh, one-off payment to register, says Grant. Yeah, I should apply. I should register, get a call sign, and have it. At the moment, I don't have an allocated call sign anymore. Oh yeah, Grant says, I don't think you can get the old F call signs back. Yeah, that's fine. I don't necessarily want the same one again. Ooh, Tinker made a good point, that I really do need an AP set up specifically for stream use that is sandboxed. That is absolutely correct. I have, there is a limitation though. On Unify networks, you can advertise, I may be wrong about this. On Unify networks, you can create up to 4 Wi-Fi networks. And I currently have 4 Wi-Fi networks created here. Ooh, thanks, John. John said, I'll put them aside for next time I come by. Awesome. And I don't know if that is a limitation that you can only advertise up to 4 networks per AP, or if it is 4 wireless networks that you can define, which can then be selectively advertised by the APs. So if it means having a dedicated AP with an extra network, or if putting in more APs means that I can advertise more networks, that'd be great. I just don't know if that's possible. I shall investigate. Or someone cleverer than I am can tell me. Yeah, so what was I doing? That's right, conveyor. Oh, Matt Westlake said 4 per AP. Okay, so you can define more. You can define more wireless networks, but you can only advertise up to 4 per AP. Well, that's fine. Then I'll add an AP and dedicate it to like guest network and a sandboxed live stream network for doing demos and things. And also I need an MQTT broker with no username and password, or just a bogus username and password. Wagonlow says, I thought Apple Airport Wi-Fi AP could connect 50 users. Oh yeah, you can connect many users. I think you can have, it depends on the access point, but you can often have 150 users. Yeah, you can have many users on the access point. We're talking about networks, like actual different SSIDs. So advertising an office network plus a guest network plus a sandboxed whatever network plus a test network, all with different SSIDs, all off the same access points. So I am currently running 4 wireless SSIDs off my Unify things, and I could actually do with more. The thing is that I do need more networks because I have customers that have specialized networks. I have customers where I need to emulate their network environment in order to do setup on their IoT devices. So it's fairly common for me to bring up to modify one of the wireless networks that I'm advertising to match a customer's wireless network, so that I can test things as if I'm them. So yeah, being able to advertise more networks would be good. Tinker said, also desperately need local DNS. Oh, good morning to Stephen 447999, Matt Westlake, and Wagon Loads. Yes. So, all right. I will elaborate slightly, just because it's like I kind of can't help myself. So this is a follow-on from the oblique nerd brag from earlier. Okay, so I have fairly recently started dating someone, and okay, the identity of the person I am not revealing on streams, and it's a slightly strange situation because there are people in this stream right now. Ooh, VK3 John is available. VK3 SHS. But yeah, there are people in this stream right now in chat who have known this person for like a decade plus in real life. And so to those people, please do not reveal the identity of that person, because she wants to protect her identity in this context. The thing is that she is very yes, she's a nerd, Cable Tie said. Goodness no. So the Princess Fiona character that you can see in the chat right now, that is, okay, so Princess Fiona is an alter ego. And she is quite prominent in the open source community. Many people know who she is in real life. But for various reasons, we're, we're enforcing a disconnect between her real life identity and revealing her identity on stream, because she goes by it's for various reasons. Yeah, Cable Tie says, so it is a nerd brag, yes. And anybody who, if you come to the barbecue, you can meet her in real life, and her identity in real life is not a secret. It's just, I'm not going to reveal it here. As Crispian says, so I'm the ogre. Yes, exactly. Yes, I have a swamp. It's the area out there. Yeah, so anyway, that's incentive for you to come along to the barbecue. Come along, meet Princess Fiona. Find out who she really is. So that is a nerd brag that I've been sitting on for a little while, keeping quiet about. That is a nice boulder. Yes, Imi. Conveyor frame, okay. Vic says, but I'm in a kingdom far, far away. I know, Vic. Got to come and visit your kingdom. Crispian says, finally got it off your chest, yeah. Because it's something that I am very happy in. I am very happy and excited about it. And and not talking about it has been hard. So now I've kind of revealed it. Now, conveyor. I have made progress on the conveyor. There are so many projects. So for the last couple of months, I have essentially been bouncing backwards and forwards between the Beetlebot project and assembling RepRapMicron, which means that other projects have not really got a look in, and there are other things that I need to make progress on. Tinker says, explains John's recent tendency to giggle like a kid more. Yeah, it does. It does. Cable Tie says, I'm visiting Johnny Bergdale's kingdom in December. Ooh, you are going to the kingdom of the King of Sweden? Yeah. Very good. I'd like to go to visit the kingdom of the King of Sweden. Maybe in the future, not too distant future. I would like that. Okay. Yeah, says Cable Tie. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just looking at names in the chat now. There are multiple people in the chat who know Princess Fiona in real life, and have known for quite some time. Like, as in way predating me. So I have a question for those people. Why the hell did you not tell us about each other like 10 years ago? Oh, okay, there were reasons. There were many reasons. So this, where are we? Nima, okay. I'm going to open that one. That one doesn't, right. This one looks better. If you go to Sweden, do you have to get a kebab pizza? Sion says, you are so distracted right now, scrolling your file list up and down, up and down. Yeah, it's like a fidget spinner. Just, my hand is on the trackpad and I'm just fidget spinning. I should grab an actual fidget spinner instead. Now, I have become very frustrated recently that I do not have functional conveyors on the line. It is breaking me down. Yeah, as Crispian says, the time wasn't right. That's right. Hang on, I'm backing up in the chat. I am backing up in the chat. Module squirrel bracket. Is NZ still part of the British Empire? Asked Evil Dees. Yeah. Okay. And a quick recap of where we left the conveyor project, because this was visited probably November, December, I think, was the period where I was messing around with the conveyor last. I can't quite remember. And the problem that I had at the time was with the drive motors for the conveyor belts. And I was determined to use DC motors, and I realize now that was a terrible mistake. I should have paid attention, because if you look at conveyors that are used on actual production lines, they do not use DC motors. Particularly if you have a conveyor that needs to operate at different speeds. And what I need is a conveyor that can run through a very wide range of speeds. It needs to be able to run at like maybe as slow as 115 millimeters a minute up to like a few thousand millimeters a minute. You know, somewhere, or faster. Somewhere in that range. It's a very wide speed range. And the result is that if you try to do that with a DC motor, if you set up a motor with a gearbox that allows it to hit the top speed on full voltage. Imagine you've got a 12 volt DC motor and it is geared such that you get, I'm going to use round numbers here, 1,000 millimeters a minute of travel on the conveyor, and then you want to scale it down to make it run at 100 millimeters a minute. So you've got a 10:1 speed ratio. If you decrease the voltage, you also dramatically decrease the torque, and it can stall very quickly. So there are ways around that. You can do things like...
Not like there were a whole bunch of viewers asking why in heck you weren't using steppers.
Yeah, I know. I know. Oh, right, there were. Here it comes. It's going to say it.
Oh, right, there were.
Yep. It's because I'm a little slow. So there is a very wide speed ratio. Now, you can overcome that. And if you look at things like the way model railroads work, there is a similar situation. If you want to drive a loco so that it starts off very slowly, it starts from a 0 speed and then very slowly ramps up. If you want really smooth, low speed control, one technique that is used for that is modulating a square wave over the drive voltage. So essentially PWMing it, and but in such a way, it's at a very low frequency. So not what you would normally consider PWM, which is normally in the many hundreds of hertz up to like into the kilohertz region is pretty normal for PWM driving into a load. So the Wagonline says, make your conveyor work like an air hockey table. Oh boy, don't tempt me. Yeah, so if you do very, very low frequency modulation and not necessarily full PWM.
But talk is cheap, right?
Yeah, no, torque isn't cheap. Well, torque is cheap. TALK, but TORQUE is not cheap. That is harder to achieve. By doing very low frequency modulation of the drive voltage, you effectively achieve a higher peak voltage, and it overcomes stiction within the motor. And if the motor is turning slowly anyway, the low PWM frequency can work. But it makes the motors noisy at low speed. So anyway, there are things you can do to make that work, but it's a bit of a pain. And I should have just used steppers in the first place, which has so many advantages. Crispian says, I remember my dad had a drill with a motor controller that clearly wasn't compatible. It used to chatter and sputter at low speeds. I think he'd attempted to use an SCR. Okay, yeah. John said, having missed the previous chat about this, you should use steppers. I'm learning slowly.
At Tinker001 said, my N-Gauge RR layout used rheostats to control speed.
Yeah, N-Gauge railroad layout, use rheostats. Yeah. So, where am I? Where am I up to? Okay. I went through a couple of options. N20 motors were what I was using. An N20 motor works really well if you don't care about that wide speed range. If you do the calculation on the gearbox, N20 motors come with a whole lot of different gear ratios. So you just figure out based on the linear speed that you want the conveyor. Say you want it to run at, I don't know, 500 millimeters a minute, which is quite slow. Or, you know, maybe a couple of thousand millimeters a minute, which is a more reasonable speed. Then you do the calculation based on the radius of the drive wheel and therefore the rate of rotation of the shaft. And then you figure out the gearbox ratio. So you just buy the appropriate motor and you make it run at the speed you want. That's not a problem. So that was my first version. My initial prototypes of this conveyor ran they ran nicely with little N20 motors. The problem was I could not make them go super slow. And I want to be able to make them vary in speed because I want to be able to do things like have them accept a PCB from the upstream device at high speed. And then in the case of the conveyor that feeds it into the reflow oven, I want it to slow right down and feed the board off at the speed that matches the conveyor on the oven. And mine is set currently, I believe, at 115 millimeters per minute. So yeah, if you stand there and look at the conveyor, you can see it moving, but only just. It is really slow. So I need to be able to feed the board off at that speed, but I want to be able to load boards onto it quickly at a much higher speed. Now, so I've done the N20 mount. I experimented with the 050 motors, which are physically a lot bigger. I thought that would give me the torque that I needed at low speed. Did not. So during the week, last week, I pulled out some NEMA 11 and NEMA 8 steppers and I experimented. Now NEMA 11s are physically big enough, so this is a mount for a NEMA 11 to go into the end of the conveyor. So if we look at this, for example, you can see this one here in this assembly. This has got an N20 motor.
Replace the belts with rollers. Each roller has its own stepper.
Yeah, if you're a bajillionaire. So this is the mount for the N20. And the distance from the center of that shaft to the center of the idler shaft, like the idler wheel shaft at the other end, has to be fairly precise. It's got to match the length of the belt that goes around it, and then there's a bit of tension adjustment. So this is fixed. Like this end has the shaft at a fixed position. And I sized this based on the dimensions of the N20 motor. But then if you go to a NEMA 11, because they are physically quite a bit bigger, do I have an assembly here? Maybe I don't. I thought I did.
That could be programmed as a linear accelerator.
yeah, achieve ballistic board launching. So this would fit a NEMA 11 stepper with the cable wrapping around the body, going through this hole and then passing through the inside of the frame. But in order to do this, I've had to, if you think of this as a square, that face where the stepper mounts, I've had to make that bigger, which means that it is higher and lower to keep the center shaft in line with the center of the frame. And the whole thing has had to move that way, which means the center of the shaft is now further away from the end of the frame, which then has to be compensated for in other ways. So I've designed the NEMA 11 mount and also designed a NEMA 8 mount. So this is for the teeny tiny little NEMA 8 steppers, which are so cute. Similar deal, except that because it's smaller, it can be fully enclosed. It will sit inside almost the way the N20 motor did and be bolted on from the front. Now there is an annoyance here, which is, in fact, I might close that up. I think I will close that up. The reason there is an angle on here is that is where a board enters. Although if it's driven from the exit end, that's not a problem. If you look at it from this end, imagine a board entering the conveyor. These little chamfers on the end here are to guide the board and center it, because it might not be perfectly centered coming off the previous piece of equipment. So this, if there was a sharp cornered edge on here, it could catch on the corner and just jam up the conveyor. So it's got these little chamfers to help guide. So if it's a couple of millimeters off in its position, it'll hit that face and be pushed back into being centered. And it's got that on both sides. And the issue is, if you imagine the board rubbing along that face, so the lead corner of the PCB could hit this face. So that face needs to be unobstructed. It needs to be a nice smooth surface for the board to run along. And you don't want the edge of the fiberglass of the PCB to catch on that. And with, whoops, this one, right there, look at that. The board is going to hit this face and catch on that bolt hole. So, yeah, it's not ideal. I'm going to have to experiment with this. What I might do is remove both the bolt holes that are further back. Or maybe I'll make another piece. Like what I could do is cut this away and make it so that the bolts go in and then there is a cap piece that goes onto the top, and that covers it up and gives a nice smooth face. Oh, Simon said, hoping your P&P isn't off by a couple of millimeters. No, in terms of its placements, no. But in terms of the boards coming in on the conveyor, because the conveyor isn't jammed tight against the side of the PCB, there is a little bit of slack. Typically the conveyor is set to be like...
Grant Meisel said, just stick a piece of flat plastic on with double-sided tape.
Yeah, exactly, that sort of thing.
001 said, if a board hits the face on the exit, something bad has already happened.
Oh, if it hits the face on the exit, yeah, definitely.
At Paul_Schultz said, make the chamfer finish earlier.
Yes, to all of those things. Oh, yes to all of those things. So what I was thinking of doing was cutting this face back and making it so that something hard and smooth can be stuck onto that face and provide a nice sliding surface. It's already 11:05 and I haven't even started on RepRap. So yeah, oh, I've got hiccups now. Oh, Evil says when the board hits the face, you may need some more space. That's amore. Yeah. Anyway, point being, I am making progress on the PCB conveyor project, but I have not been doing it on stream because I just need to get it done. It needs to be finished. Well, not finished. It needs to get to the point of being functional. Where, yeah, says Henrik. Yeah, Ungrant says, will also help with wear. You can replace the surface of the fiberglass is wearing it down. Yeah, and the thing is that that surface could be like a piece of metal. It could be a piece of laser cut acrylic, which just gets inset into it. What I could do is take that face, essentially I could just like draw a rectangle in here and push that face in by, say, 1.5 millimeters, and then laser cut a piece of acrylic that just pushes into that spot. And then I've got a nice super smooth acrylic face on there, which the PCB would not catch on and should take a long time to wear. Or it could be a piece of metal. Yeah, so the upshot of all of this, oh, and also I ordered steppers because the only NEMA 8 steppers that I have are hollow shaft steppers designed for being the rotational axis on pick and place nozzles. So I have NEMA 8 steppers, but they don't have the shaft that I need to have it come out here and mount the idler wheel on it.
Finish the design, then have them cast in stainless.
Have them cast in stainless. Have them cast. So those pieces could be metal. That seems like massive overkill. But I can get on board with overkill. Overkill is good. Wagonlight says, can you make parallel rails that open and close at the right time to push the PCB to the center before it enters the next conveyor? Ooh. You'd have to be very careful though, because you're only gripping by the edges, the few millimeters of the edge of the PCB. So if you open too far, the PCB is just going to fall out. So you'd have to open only a couple of millimeters. It is definitely.
Unexpected Maker said, finish the design and then have them cast in pure gold.
Yeah, have them cast in pure gold. Yep. So what you would have to do is open the conveyor by only a few millimeters so that the board that comes on doesn't just fall on the floor, and then close it by a couple of millimeters to align it a bit. But anyway, that all sounds terribly dangerous. And I need to RepRap this Micron. Yeah, I've got to print some of these. Should send some to the printer. I might do that after the stream. Might do it right now. Let's send it to the printer right now. Save as mesh. Yes. And then I am going to Squirrel, yeah. Tools. X1C. Where is there? Do I have a conveyor? PC assembly jigs. Do I have anywhere for parts for this? RepRapMicron. I do. Do I? PCB conveyor. Yes, I do. There it is. I just couldn't see it. So NEMA 11 mount. I did a test print, I believe. Did I actually print it? I can't remember. All right, now it pains me to do this, given all that is going on with Bamboo Labs right now. BBL are not popular. Oh, there is a weird thing going on with Bamboo Labs where, come on, show all windows, where I cannot get the window to show up. Okay, I'm going to kill Bamboo Studio. It opens its window off screen somewhere, and I can't get it back again. I've tried the gather windows thing and all of that sort of stuff. It just, oh, there we go. So If it fails, I've got to quit it. Prep Air. Prep Air. So I feel kind of dirty opening Bamboo Studio. PCB conveyor, NEMA 8. Here we go. How will we print this? I'm going to stick this on that face. I'm going to, what will I print it in? Standard, yeah. I'm going to turn on support, build plate only, tree. What color? I'm going to do it in that. Oh, if that's even what's loaded in the printer, let's see. Sync, overwrite, yes, overwrite. Okay, I'm going to do it in this funky yellow color. I'm going to print it in, I'll print it in that yellow. I like this yellow. Slice and dice it. And go. Yes, go. See how it turns out. Maybe at the, it won't take long to print. What's its estimate? 37 minutes. Okay. I should make sure there's nothing on the printer. I have done this before. I sent off a print and then discovered that it had something sitting on the print bed. Luckily, the printer kind of figures that out for itself, but still, it's annoying. All right, it looks like it does not have anything there. Save, no. All right. So, stop that. So what I'm going to have to do, in order to make that work with steppers, the most recent version of the PCB controller, PCB conveyor controller PCB, so confusing.
At Tinker001 said, you did the live last week.
I did that live last week. Yeah, I think that was with the knee. Oh, I did that live last week. Yeah, I printed something when something was already on the printer. What was I thinking? I am losing it. I have no idea. What was I doing? Send it off for printing, that's right. The PCB conveyor controller PCB needs to be modified so that it has a stepper driver instead of an H-bridge motor driver for the main X-axis control. So that is some redesign work that I've got to do. So what I'm going to do is just rip off the H-bridge. There's an H-bridge directly on the PCB right now. I'm going to nuke that and I'll put on a footprint for a step stick, and then that'll just be driven by the ESP32. Yes, I did it last week. Yes, Lewis Rosman wants our help. Yep. Hang on. It is now. What am I doing? Okay, what I'm doing is A, pressing this little button right here. B, hitting mute so I can have a drink. And for anyone who joined us in the last 5 seconds, that would have been a very confusing moment. We have this. We have we have all of this. I'm going to move this aside for now. Put that over there. Move that to there. Yeah. I'm feeling a little bit weird right now because my mind is in a weird place because it is barbecue day and I always get really anxious on barbecue day because it feels like I'm not ready.
Ack, it's the actual topic project.
Yeah, I know. What's going on? So I'm always anxious anyway because it feels like I'm not prepared. And I'm especially anxious today because I have not cleaned up yet in the lab here. So I am going to, as soon as this stream ends, I am going to be doing a bit of cleaning up to make it less embarrassing. All right, but anyway, it puts me into a strange state of mind when I'm trying to focus on doing stuff on the stream. This is the Axis driver that we put together last week, and it seems to be pretty good. I have not yet lubricated in between those two washers. If I pull this down, I'm just going to pull on the end of this bolt. You can see it pulls the axis down a little bit,
Squirrel,
which is
squirrel, squirrel, squirrel.
the same thing that would happen if the stepper was turning this bolt. But I've now just got it apart. Those two washers that are here are essentially acting like a thrust bearing.
When you
And
placed the
that
damper
needs to
mechanism
be-
on the desk, it oscillated. How
Oh.
is that going to affect the printing?
That's a good question. I guess the printing is going to have to sit on a fairly solid surface. So there is, oh, hang on, there's someone at the door. I've just got to go and check who it is. Ugh. Hello, come on
How
in.
are you doing? Thanks, John. We'll go somewhere quiet.
Okay.
Oh, by the way. Here we go.
Oh, thank you. Blue tack.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. It's a delivery of blue tack, among other things. Uber tack. Andy, Angie, and Deanna have just arrived. So they are, oh, and Astra, of course. Can't forget Astra, the wonder dog. There is a story behind Andy delivering blue tack to me. But I won't go into that right now. I'm just going to put the blue tack up the top. The printer movement might create an oscillation, says Crispian. Okay. Now, what am I going to do now? So I've got two more of these axes that need the extra parts put on them. I don't think I'm going to do that right now. So these were my notes from last week from the stepper driver. We've got the 3 steppers sitting here, which we had successfully running last week, which is cool. We have the stage platform thingy, which needs to have some magnets stuck in it. I could do that right now. Now, here we have 2 versions of the stage platform, and I've kind of lost track. I believe that the one on the left is the most recent design, but I could be wrong because I don't even remember what order I printed them in, and I don't like the fact that it's in that yellow. Stephen says Astra on stream or it didn't happen. Vic says old stage, don't use the 4-hole one. Yeah, okay, that one is the old one, this is the new one. So the 3 holes matches the 3 holes that are on the thing. Okay, good. I don't want to use that one because it's the wrong yellow. So I am going to, just to be sure, let's break it. Didn't want to break that way. Okay, break it this way. Okay, this is now a mangled stage. So that definitely cannot be used. That's going to go into my pile of print rejects. Here's some wire which I'm going to use for the limit switches. Here is UV LED and various other bits of stuff. What is this? There's a piece of paper in here. Oh, stepper motor dimensions. Okay, that's not important. So then, what I could do is stick the UV LED in here. Oh, Vic says remarkably tough, those flex shears.
001 said, have you weighed the scrap plastic bin lately?
No, I haven't. Oh, Crispin says blue tack isn't blue tack anymore. I've some old blue tack left over from about 20 years ago and it performs way better. Oh, I wonder if the formulation has been changed to protect the innocent. As in, do not poison people anymore. Okay, this. Now, Vic, just to clarify, I believe the staging plate, I should just look at the pictures. It goes up this way, doesn't it? So it has the magnets on the top. The bolts go through here to bolt this onto the platform. I'm going to bring this over. So we have the 3 bolt holes here. We've got 3 bolt holes here. This bolts on like that, so that this is the control mechanism for the for this. So, and then the magnets get bolted into here. The magnets are up here, and I just need to glue a couple in, and that goes on there. Yes, says Vic. Cool. UV LED, make a gem hunter. Yeah, all right. Let's clean this up just a little with, let's see what I can find in here. Oh, fancy. Maybe one of those would be useful. Oh, maybe that would be useful. I don't know. What have we got? It's just an excuse to play with this. I can't get it out. Defective fingers. All right, I need that. I need that, which I will drop that blade out of and put the littler one in. And screw that on there. This may actually be easier with a scalpel, but we'll see. All right, got to get it through because there's already a bit of plastic in there. Bit of deburring. Yeah, nice. Seems to work well. I shouldn't be dropping the plastic into the box though. Okay. Scalpel. Find a little bit of cleanup, and then I should just glue the magnets in. So the magnets, as I understand it, just need to adhere to some washers or something that are on the microscope slide. So the polarization, or I should say the polarity of the magnets doesn't matter. They simply need to grab onto whatever we are sitting on top of it. I think that'll do. I think it'll do. Put it away. Okay. I need to stick the UV LED in here, which means I need to get it off here, which means I need to unravel all of this. So this one's 5 volts. The way these are set up, okay. All right, I'm just going to unravel all of this strip because I want to get to the end. I want to take the last one off the strip instead of chop it near the USB end. And there we go. Oh. All right. I don't know why that amused me, but it did. Okay, I'm going to chop this last one off. So we have a single UV LED. And roll this back on to the reel. Come on. Come on. This is why they used the tape to stick it on. Oh, maybe I can, oh, come on. I am such a klutz. Grip it from the center. I've got to get it past the point where it binds onto itself. There we go. I think it'll be all right now. No, it's come off. I can't even roll stuff properly.
He doesn't even think about how easy it would be to just use the first one, then reattach the cord to the rest.
Use the first one, then reattach the cord to the rest? No, no, that would be harder. It's all heat shrunk on. It's it is, yeah, that would not be easier. The easy thing is just to take the one off the end of the strip, because then I can just solder wires onto it, which is what I want. I don't want the USB connector on it. Okay, I think I'm underway now. I think it's rolling properly.
Load it on your old Super 8 projector to reel it in.
Yeah, pull it in quick smart. There you go. Gee. Machine go. Getting there. Not fast enough. Okay. Yeah, the way this is done, see, it's all, the USB cable comes onto the end and it's all nicely heat shrunk. It's well done. I don't want to undo that. I'm probably going to use this UV elsewhere, like for checking, ooh, just want to see if this sits in the right place. Goes on there. Not
Next stream, Hell want
not
another
quite
single
long enough.
LED for something.
Okay, so we want it to be mounted like this so that it shines up through the build plate. And it was just one LED, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was a single LED that this is designed for. This is not quite long enough. I'm probably going to have to use some glue or something to support it in that location. But I will first put some wire res on it. Now, because of the way this LED strip is set up, every LED has its own individual current limiting resistor. And if you buy 5 volt or 12 volt UV strip, the only difference will be, I believe, the value of that resistor. This particular one is set up for 5 volts. But we could change that resistor if we wanted to run it off 12 volts or some other thing. So, what am I going to do? What am I doing? I think what I'm going to do is solder some wire onto this. What wire should I solder? Maybe this wire. Why? Because it's sitting on my bench, that's why. Why? That's why. Maybe it's not long enough though. I need this to be long enough. It needs to be long and lightweight. Those are the two requirements. Because the wire that goes to this is going to be going to the build platform and applying force to it. So as the build platform moves, I mean, the movement is minimal. It's only, the whole thing only moves a few millimeters. But still, I can't use wire that is large and stiff or is going to put unnecessary force on it. So I need to find myself a bit of lightweight wire. Something like, you know, IDC cable would be pretty good. This piece is just not quite long enough. And if I get a piece of IDC cable and then strip next to the pin, next to the one that's got the red mark on it, I can even have polarity marking on the cable. So, I have a roll of IDC cable in the cleanish room. I'm going to go and cut myself off a piece of IDC cable and then strip it down.
Grab a long USB cable, cut one connector off.
Ah, grab a long USB cable. Who said that? Stephen says, so some 16mm squared should do the job. Yeah, just. Vic says, use the wrong voltage and you get a UV and IR emitter in one. Henrik says, grab a long USB cable, cut one connector off. Yeah, I don't need a USB connector on the end of it because this is going to be switched from the motion controller, I believe. It's going to be connected to one of the switched outputs, like an output that you would use for coolant or some other control like that. Which means I should stop and think about this. What output voltage do we get on the Tiny G on things like the coolant output? So what have I got here? No, those are all steppers. Oh, spindle, PWM, cool. All right, Tiny G. Let's have a look at Tiny G I/O because I want to know if that is going to switch through the motor voltage or if it is going to switch a regulated voltage like 5 volts. If I can attach it to the spindle output directly, that would be nice because then we can just have G-code turn it on and off, which is the whole goal of the way Vic does this, I believe. So let's do Tiny G pinout. Let's see what it does. Ooh. Wagon Load says, no brag, I'm in the process of designing an ESP32 controlled dual bandwidth UV search head so I can adjust the proportions of each wavelength so I can detect what type of GEM it detects. Oh, cool. Oh, and Vic says, my controller had 12 volts, so I just put a 680R in series. Yeah, okay. Let's find out what... Oh, come on. I thought I was just going to go to a... Hang on, there was Dropbox, pinout diagram. Okay. No, that... Arduino Due? No. Tiny... Oh, no, that's Due, not... Yeah, Synthetos. Come on. Tiny G configuration. Let's see what we can find. Pin connection NPN, so that is off there. Where are the connections off here? PNP, nope. Surely there is like a different, oh, Synthetos. Synthetos? How do you pronounce that? Where is solar schematics, page 1. Okay, schematic will do. That's what I want. View, download raw, yeah. Do not open it in, it did. My computer insists on opening things in Acrobat, which sucks. I just wanted to open the PDF directly in the browser. All right, what have we got here? Is this only page 1? Yeah, it's only page 1. Nope. Schematics. Why is it broken into pages? And what? Come on. Come on, Synthetos. Give me a Tiny G pinout diagram. Hardware data sheets. Oh, that's all discussion stuff. Developer pages, stepper motors and power supplies. Where is the pinout diagram? Show me a pinout diagram. I know, there are people in the chat telling me the answer, I'm sure. Setup info. Sure, more setup info. Let's see if that gives us anything useful. Nope. Tiny G pinout. There has got to be a diagram. What about connecting Tiny G? Maybe that has something. All right. Tell us about these. Fan voltage. Okay, so there's a fan output and you can set it to VMOT or 12. Let's see what. No, that's all about connecting to the computer wire, coil pairs. Yep, beyond that. Connect to pinouts beyond that. Beyond that, cooling. No, that's only the motors. What about the spindle and all right. Tiny G spindle output. Yeah, spindle wiring. Okay. Spin PWM. Yep. Analog voltage in the range of 0 to 10 volts on a VFD. Listen input of what? Via the circuit. I don't want to, I'm going to get sidetracked by this way too much. I am going to ignore that for now. That's a problem for another day. I will figure out what that is later. Okay, for now, I'm going to leave you looking at that while I go and grab myself a length of IDC cable so I can strip it down and solder it onto this LED. Where is, oh, here it is. Here is a good sized roll of cable. It's getting to the point now where I need to start putting the various parts of this onto a base so everything is supported, because I'm going to have the pica, I'm going to have the axis drivers hanging off it. There is going to be the motion controller, which has to be mounted somewhere. So I might get maybe a piece of acrylic or something. Like I might get something like, say, 6mm acrylic, so it's fairly solid. Laser cut it and make a mounting base for the Tiny G. Make a location where this mounts, but it's just a little bit premature because I'm not quite sure what the footprint needs to be once the motor drivers and everything are hanging off it. But I don't want it to go too much further where I have everything just lying around loose like this. It needs to be all attached and well supported. So I need to get just a little bit more developed. And what the implication of this, the problem is, this cable for the UV LED for curing, I don't know how long to make it, because I don't know where it's got to go. Like, I know it's got to go from the staging platform here, so the cable is going to sit like that. But then where does the other end of this go? Well, it's going to go to the Tiny G, but where is the Tiny G going to be relative to the pica? I need to figure out a mounting location. So at the moment, what I'm doing is just making the cables longer than they need to be, because I don't know how long they need to be. And maybe I have made it not long enough. I really don't know. You up to temperature yet, soldering iron? Okay, there you go. First soldering of the day. Won't quite be the last, but I'm not going to be doing much today. Okay, which side do I want to drive it from? Doesn't really matter. I might...
spindle output is simply CMOS 3.3 VPWM output.
Oh, okay. Thank you for checking that out. Who was that? Henrik. Spindle output is simply 3.3 volt PWM output. All right, so it's just like a logic signal coming off the MCU. That is useful to know. Thank you. All right, I'm going to get rid of the sticky part of that and solder onto here. What did I just do with the wire? Oh, here it is. Positive and negative. Luckily, it happens to fall the right way around.
Could just use a 1 meter square bit of plywood to mount everything during this stage.
A 1 meter square bit of plywood. Yeah, that would be a bit of overkill though. That would be quite large. All right, so I've got that ready to mount. So I want that to be mounted here like that, so that it shines up through that hole in the center of the staging plate, which is where the microscope slide is going to go. Oh, which I've ordered also, by the way. Now, glue. I need to glue this in. What glue should I use? I think I'm going to use the Loctite gel. I could use UV. I could use the nail polish. But the problem is that I don't think I'd get the UV in to cure it. It would end up being obscured by the LED strip itself. So I'm going to use Loctite. A little dab of it, just there. Bigger dab there, and a bit there. Okay. And then I am going to have to immobilize this for a while at least, while the glue dries. So this Loctite glue dries reasonably quickly, but it is still just like an air dry reaction. It's not a 2-pack or anything, so it's it does have to sit for a little while. All right, so I'll sit it in a place where it's out of the way, and that glue can sit there and dry. And I'm going to have to do the same on the other side with the magnets, but I can do that later. All right, what does that leave me with?
I suggest super glue with baking powder.
Super glue with baking powder, says Henrik. Yeah. Oh, Vic says, for those reading the instructions, it says thin clear tape. Okay. Duct tape. The prototypes were on a 500mm square of 16mm ply, and it was a royal pain in the armpit on the desk. Yeah. Yeah, a 500 by 500 square is it's a big thing to move around. Yeah, for those reading the instructions. I hear the accusation there, and it is 100% warranted and valid. All right, that roll of UV strip can go back in the box. So that needs to dry. What am I going to do in the meantime? I'm kind of curious to play around with that microscope. I haven't actually even plugged it in and turned it on or anything yet. Let's see. I'll move that out of the way. So 10 to 300 zoom. I bought another microscope during the week as well. I seem to have been accumulating microscopes recently. Okay, microscope. here is the little mounting bar for it. So that should go into the pica. Here is the thing that goes over the top. I probably don't necessarily want to do this right away. Ooh. Up and down. That's a horrible feeling mechanism. Lock, unlock. What does that do? Oh, that moves on that bar. Up, down. Oh, I see. So that's the up, down. Except it's probably meant to be that way. Maybe? What does the picture on the box show? It shows it like that. So it's got the lock, unlock on the right. It's got the up, down movement on the left. Goes onto the bar, which goes down through it like that. So that the cable can come over the top and be guided. So I'll screw that on, and let's see how it goes on this. I suspect I'm going to need a longer bar because, look at this. I don't think this is going to be adequate. It's going to be really low over the mechanism. Oh, Vic says that's actually a handy mount with up down, and I designed picker to fit it. Yeah. Oh, Wagon Light says glue the wire in the slot. Yes, I did. There is glue in that slot. So this is all going to end up. The wire will be glued and the LED will be glued. Now, do I need a longer stem for this? Because, I'm just going to take this off. If I put this into the picker and sit it right down in the bottom like that, it does not come up very high up here. Maybe it would work if I mount this upside down. So if it mounts that way, it puts the microscope very low. If I turn it up the other way, maybe there's enough room for it. Oh, Vic says you'll need a longer tube though. Right. Okay. Yeah. So I need to replace this tube. Cool. What is it? It looks like the sort of thing that I would have, like a towel rail tube. It's a 16 millimeter tube. Okay. So I need some 16 millimeter tube to mount this on the picker. Cool. Let's check out this microscope. Plug it in. See if it runs off this USB hub. It may not. Oh, it's got the LEDs have turned on at least. I'm going to...
One day, John will reliably notice the chat. The world will break.
Curtain rod. Grant says, I think I have rather a lot of 16 millimeter curtain rod. Vic says 16 millimeter aluminium tube and towel rail can be had from DIY. Yeah, towel rail. That, I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of that sort of rod left over, like offcuts and things from towel rails. From home reno sort of things. So I'm pretty sure I can sort myself out some 16 millimeter rod to go in that. I have a strong suspicion that the 3D printer is finished now, but I'm going to ignore that for now. What am I doing? Oh, yes. Oh no, I can hear the printer running. I am going to launch QuickTime Player so that I can do new movie recording, which allows me to do, I want to take it from digital microscope. So it's going to look terrible initially because the microscope is just lying on the bench pointing at nothing and it's unfocused, but this is the view. So I'm going to pick up the microscope. Let's see what we can have a look at. Let's examine some of my handwriting up close. Oh, Operation could not be completed. What are you talking about? QuickTime, stop being stupid. Oh, that was bad. New movie recording. Yes. Now stop. Oh, come on. What are you doing, QuickTime player? All right, I'm going to try to get this focused. Focus. Which way? That way? Apparently, yes. Okay, so that is zooming way in on my handwriting. It is, that's looking at a couple of E's in the word green. There it is, Green. Right, I'm going to put that right down on top of it, try to get the focus sorted. Yeah, you can see the grain in the post-it note, the way the ink has bled into it. Cool, all right. Vic says, the microscope is a rabbit hole and a half. I'm playing with Python CV2 to make a decent viewer with measurement, picture-in-picture, and CNC control interface. Could do with helps. Oh, okay. Yeah, there is. Yes, I have just been messing with image capture stuff as well, trying to make a global shutter industrial camera work so that I can use it for taking photos of PCBs. And Vic, I don't know if this is useful to you, but there is an image capture library which originally started as part of the OpenPNP project, and it got made out into a little self-contained, let's see, I'm gonna, oh, what are you, all right, that is just looking at a bench surface. I'm gonna, all right, this is what I have just been messing with. OpenPNP camera driver, OpenPNP capture. This is this thing. So it's in the OpenPNP repo, and it is the OpenPNP capture library, and somewhere down here it describes it. It's a cross-platform video capture library for C with a focus on machine vision. So it supports, and part of the thing is that OpenPNP runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac. So capturing stuff on all of those platforms with the underlying video drivers is a bit of an issue. So, and it's got some of these things which are really, really important, like auto and manual exposure control, auto and manual focus control. And when setting up things like machine vision for edge detection and all of the things you need to do in pick and place, you definitely need manual control over those functions. And a lot of the time, like here for example, I bet that this camera, so we've selected digital microscope, this camera will be presenting itself to the operating system as a UVC device, which is, it stands for something really super obvious, like USB video, what's the C? I can't remember. Basically, it's like a generic video device that is accessible over USB, and there are video streams coming from the device, and there are also control channels that are used for things like changing exposure, etc. on the camera. And if you're doing what I am doing right now, which is using QuickTime Player to capture the UVC video stream, we have no way here of controlling the features of the camera. There's just no UI for it. But in OpenPNP, because it uses the OpenPNP capture library, it exposes all of the manual controls, which is very cool. So this is what I'm working on at the moment, to try to use this, but not in OpenPNP, and be able to do things like capture images of circuit boards as they come off pick and place before they go into the oven, so that, anyway, stuff. I was messing with that during the week. USB video camera, yes, says Jack's Tech. That is UVC. No, class. It's not camera, it's class. UVC is USB video class, because the different types of USB devices have, yeah, they're classified as classes, so that you can say this is a device of class keyboard or whatever. And then you don't need specific drivers for it, because it complies with a pre-existing class that the operating system can know how to deal with. Oh. Yes. So, future stuff. This is, yeah, this is all related to the conveyor, because I was messing around with the PCB conveyor project during the week. Part of it was the stepper motor stuff, and part of it was cameras to mount above the conveyors for capturing it. And I've got a whole bunch of different cameras, including some fancy industrial cameras that that just kind of don't really work properly with regular computers. They're not, normal software doesn't know how to deal with them. So that's what I've been working on getting working. John asked, is the microscope able to see micron level detail? And Vic says, not really, it can't even to 10 micron, but that's good enough to control operation. I did a comparison. And then Vic has put in a link to his blog post where he went through the different, ooh, I'm going to bring this back up on screen, where he went through different cameras and magnifications and things. Yeah, back to here. Whoa. What word is that? Black. Microscopes are fun. It is so cool looking at super small stuff. Looking at things that, yeah. Anyway. Now, I know I have done essentially zero RepRapMicroning today. For that, I once again apologize. But I am going to go because it is barbecue day and I still have not cleaned up in here. I need to actually do some proper preparation before people start arriving. And yeah. So I'm gonna go. It is 11:59 and I'm gonna bail because I need every minute of the minutes that are minuting to try to put my house in order before I die of shame when people walk in. Okay, so I wonder if, oh, where's the brightness control? There, I'm going to turn brightness right down. Let's see what I can, oh no, I'm going to turn brightness up a bit. Trying to get my, oh, there's my eye. Now I've got to get focus. Okay, where is focus? Focus. Which way do I turn it? No, not that way, that way. Looking into my eye. All I can see is like a lot of bright light. Oh, that would have been horrifying. Yeah, you can see the circuitry at the back. Yep. the circuitry at the back of my eye. I have, who is it that makes the good eyes in Neuromancer? Zeiss something, Zeiss Optical, I can't remember. So long since I've read any William Gibson stuff. Bionic, yeah. All right. Crispian says he meant to show the other eye, the human eye. Yeah, the decoy eye, the one that makes you think that I am human. Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go and clean up. And oh, Zeiss, yeah. Crispian says, what about the Chinese eye maker in Blade Runner? Yeah. I don't remember his name. What I was thinking about was the name of the company in the various Neuromancer novels. Tyrrell Corporation. Yeah, that was the name of the company. But then there was a Chinese dude who was working out of like a little lab in a just shopping type area, I think. I don't know why, but he was not in the big Tyrrell Corporation building. He was somewhere else.
Uru, enjoy the barbecue.
I will. Thank you, Crispian. And it's a pity. Yeah, Zeiss Icon. That's it, Vic. Thank you. Vic remembers his William Gibson. Zeiss Icon. It's the name of the eye maker that did the good eyes. Hannibal Chew. Oh, was that his name, John? In Blade Runner, that was the name of the eye maker. The I just do eyes guy. Okay. I'm losing the plot. I'm losing it. I can feel it slipping. I can feel my mind going. Off-world replicant eye maker. Yes. So Vic knows his William Gibson. John Whips knows his Blade Runner. His Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Not that that had anything to do with the story. So, I'm going to go and try to put my brain back together and my life back together before people turn up. So, thanks for coming along, and I'm going to see you soon. I promise. I will see you soon. Thanks for hanging out with me. See ya.